It's the beginning of 2022, but how do you stay consistent throughout the year? So many people get excited at the start of the year. They set new goals. They drive towards new things. They join gyms. They do all of these things at the beginning of the year. And then by February or March, they've stopped and their goals are never realised. So how do you stay consistent in building the dream life, the business, the future, the finances that you really want? The extraordinary belongs to those that create it. Rebelling against business plans and debt, rebelling against what society expects of us to build cool businesses, make money, have fun, and do good. Let's create something extraordinary together. Welcome to The Rebel Entrepreneur. So today is a special episode of the Rebel Entrepreneur podcast. We have with me Laura Poole. Welcome to the show, Laura Poole.
Hi, Alan.
Now, you sent me an email about setting goals and staying consistent. So tell me, what was the message of that email? What were you talking about?
So I was going through the list, setting all my little goals and then choosing my big goal and my couple of smaller goals. And I was thinking about, where have I gone wrong in previous years? Why haven't I got here yet? What has been the thing that's been holding me back? And I was reflecting, and I think consistency. So when I've been using social media regularly, my accounts grow when I'm showing up, when I'm consistent. And it's the same with business. When I'm showing up, when I'm consistent, things happen.
Yes, I have definitely experienced that in my life. When I'm consistently on it, things are going in the right direction. And then I take a break, or something happens, something throws me off course, I'm not feeling well, something happens, and then I get off course for a week or two. And by the time I come back, it's almost like you're restarting the engine, you're cranking it to get it going again, and you've lost the momentum that you built up.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
So, staying consistent, this is a challenge, and actually, it's one of the things I've been thinking about for a long time. It's not just about consistency over a year, it's consistency over a lifetime, which this is actually where it gets scary. And I guess the first analogy, and I know you know this, but for everyone else out there as well, is the word diet. What does the word diet mean to you, Laura?
The word diet sounds scary, doesn't it? You hear diet, you're like, oh no, we can't eat the things we want to eat. We've got to do things every day that we don't want to do. And it feels hard. I think the word diet just sounds hard.
Yes, and how long do you do a diet for?
Well, me personally.
No, how long does one do a diet for?
Well, for life, really.
Well, yeah, and there's the two meanings, isn't there? There's kind of like the diet book that encourages you to eat this way for a month, and that's your diet. And then there's actually the other side of the word, which is diet, as in what you consume. And I think there's so much confusion over those two things. I am dieting is an activity that you do for a few months. Then you stop and your weight goes back to normal. How do I know? Because I've done this many times. But if you actually look at your diet over the long term, you will start to be healthier, weigh less, have all the good stuff if you can maintain and stay consistent with the diet. And it's the same if you're talking about your mental health. What's your diet for your brain? What are you consuming every day? Are you reading positive books? Or are you binge watching videos on Instagram Reels or Facebook that don't do much for your mental well-being? What's your diet? And I think there's a similar thing in business of what are you doing daily that builds the business that you want? And it's what are you doing daily that builds the mind that you want? What are you doing daily that builds the business that you want? What are you doing daily that builds the body that you want? And I think when you look at it like that, it makes it easy to see, okay, so I just need to consistently do the key things to make it happen. And I guess the challenge comes knowing what those consistent key things are. Now, in the episode 46, Practical Self-Development, I gave everyone the Jim Rohn style goal-setting exercise, which is where you create 50 goals, you come up with your top 4, you plan what you're doing, you come up with the one big thing you want to aim for, and then you go from that. So step 1 to consistency is, what's the major goal that you're going for? So, Laura Poole, what is the major goal you're going for this year?
So my major goal that I'm going for is I want to grow my coaching business. I want to grow my community. I want a community of people who want better. So people who are striving for better. That's what I want to grow. And I know to grow that, I need to be consistent, which in the past is something that I haven't been. I'm like fully on board. I'm fully in. And like I can do that for a month. And then I just stop. I just stop. I don't know why. I still want to do it, but I just stop.
We've all been there. So don't think it's just you. We've all been there. And actually, when you sort of diagnose it, the problem might be at different levels. The problem could be belief in the goal is possible. The problem could be in motivation and energy. The problem could be in the daily habits. There's so many different levels to this where it could be that it's fallen to pieces. So we'll start at the top and break it down. Just one piece I wanted to say to everyone out there, building community is a great goal. We've got to make sure we ask for the business because it will not remain consistent if it becomes something you're doing for free and becomes a burden that never leads to what you want it to lead to. So what do you actually want this to lead to?
Well, I'd love it to lead to getting some coaching clients and helping people.
So the coaching clients and helping people, which I think, hand in hand, you win business and you get to do what you love to do, which is actually help people, which is the same as my business. If I sell something, I get to help people build businesses, create lives. We get to have great fun. So I love that. Now, there's two different pieces here because if we just focus on growing community, it may not be sustainable for you because it might not lead to sales. So you have to have that element of, I'm doing this activity, but it's actually driving towards this. So if you were going to have a headline goal of how many coaching clients you would like, how many coaching clients would you like on your roster, Laura?
I suppose it would be nice to have 6 clients.
Cool. So 6 consistent clients that are working with you month in, month out.
Yeah. And I'm working on building a community, is to work on building some online coaching program, video things. So I'm building it to ask people what they want.
Cool. So you build the community, ask them what they want, create what they want, and then sell it to them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm working on at the moment.
Perfect. Okay. So it's all going to start with building the community. Okay. So then I think the second thing I wanted to say is about the huge why. And one of the expressions I love to repeat is anyhow becomes possible if you have a big enough why. The classic one for me was when the bank was trying to take my mum's home away from me. I didn't know how to save my mum's home, but I had a big enough why that drove me to do it. And I would not let go until that happens. What's your big why? Because if we don't have a big why, we're not going to follow through. So why? Why, Laura Paul? Why?
Well, first up, I love coaching. It's something that I found out lately, and I think I'm good at it. And I guess the why for anyone starting business is money. It would be great to have money, and it would be great to have money to live comfortably. FI.
That's always useful in that world, definitely. So those are the two things, to live comfortably and earn money, and because you love coaching.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there anything else? Like, what else drives you? Is that enough to get you out of bed every morning?
I don't know. Stop looking at me like that.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of people start businesses, but they don't really have like that really strong why. And if you don't have a strong why, when it's cold outside, the bed feels comfortable, it's warm, you don't have a strong enough reason to get out.
Yeah, you're really talking to me right now.
I'm back in England at the moment as well, and I know exactly what that feels like, to pull the duvet up and go, why am I actually doing this? If we have a huge why, how easy is it to get out of bed?
Hopefully much easier.
On the day you go on holiday and your alarm goes off at 3 a.m. to get the flight at 5, do you complain and struggle to get out of bed?
No, I've already been awake at the previous hours before. Like, has the alarm gone off yet? No, okay, go back to sleep.
But there you've got a why, you've got a reason, you've got a passion, you've got a drive, you know exactly what you want to achieve, and it's easy to get out of bed. Where it becomes difficult is the why is not strong enough on a daily basis to drive us forwards. So we need to kind of amp up the pleasure that we're heading for and amp up the pain that we're moving away from. So what are you moving away from, Laura? Why are you doing this? What will happen if you don't do this?
I won't be able to afford my rent, Alan.
That's not ideal. And then what happens?
And then I won't have a home.
Yes, this is not ideal. Then what happens? You'd move back in with your parents?
Maybe. My mum's going travelling though, so...
Move in with your dad?
Oh no. Hope he's not listening.
But this is part of the reason is the positive is you want to live a comfortable life, have money for rent and exciting. And the other side is if I don't do this, it leads to bad places. Without money, asking people for help, it just doesn't lead to nice places. And if we can feel both sides of us, because we're all motivated in different ways, but they primarily fall under two camps, away from and towards. I move towards a bright future and move away from bad stuff. I move away from not having enough money, struggling to pay the rent. I move away from, and actually some of the most wealthy entrepreneurs in the world move away from bad childhoods around finance. I saw my dad struggling with money, my mum having the house taken away, and I'm not one of the most wealthy entrepreneurs in the world. Let's just make that clear. I'm just saying my personal motivation, there was a huge element of, I do not want to live like that. I want to live like this. So what I'm trying to do, and I think what everyone should do listening to this podcast, is really understand the motivation. Because if you're not motivated, we'll never get out of bed and stay consistent. So what is really going to get you out of bed, get you driving on all cylinders, Laura? Is it a love of coaching? Is that enough? Is it being comfortable? Is that enough? What will really drive you?
I don't know. It's obviously not enough because it's not getting me out of bed in the mornings.
It's not enough yet.
Yeah.
So what could drive you? What could give you the energy? Where in your past, I mean, one of the expressions I heard in the past was, all of the resources you need are in your past. So where can you dig into your past to find the battery pack to drive you today?
I think it could be other people, as in I do everything alone. So I do live in a house share at the moment, but I work from home, which means you're alone. When I go out for coffee to work from a cafe, like I'm working alone. I just feel like if I think to the past, in times that I was maybe more productive, I was surrounded with other people, but not too much because I like my alone time more than I like being around other people. But I do like to be around other people too.
It's a balance, isn't it? If you're completely alone, you go stir crazy. If you're completely surrounded by people, you go stir crazy. It's somewhere in the middle, and I think we all sit somewhere on that spectrum of I need some people and I need the alone time. So thinking about being alone will motivate you to build the community.
Okay. Because I think about what in the morning, like when I don't want to get up, like the thing that I think about is like, oh, I just got to get up again, go to the kitchen, go make a cup of tea by myself, go sit on my laptop by myself. So yeah, I think having a community would help.
Doesn't sound a very exciting way of framing it for yourself either.
That's what I think in the morning.
You're like, oh no, I have to go to the kitchen again. I wouldn't want to get out of bed.
And it's cold out of the duvet.
What do you think I think about in the morning?
Oh, something inspiring, no doubt.
What can I build? What can I do? What can I get going? And sometimes I do. I roll over and I hug my wife, Katie, and it's like, But there's still, like, after half an hour of hugging, there is something within me that says, it's time. Build something, do something. What can we create? And what can I make? And how can I do this? And I get very excited about the Rebel Finance School and the podcast. And I've got these missions to change the way entrepreneurship is taught to allow anyone to be able to build a business. And it gets me excited. It gets me pumped. Then I want to get out of bed. I want to write. I want to record. I'm excited. I'm buzzing. So I think a lot of it comes down to how do we talk to ourselves in the morning? Because if I said, I've got to get out of bed, I've got to make breakfast. No one else is going to do it. It's cold outside. Look at it. It's grey. It's cold. I would want to hide under the duvet. I would not want to go into the world. So I guess my challenge to you and to everyone listening is, how can you talk to yourself and frame your day in a way that gets you excited to leap out of bed and go and get things going?
Was that a question to me?
Well, and everyone listening as well.
I think I'm quite a positive thinker, or at least I thought I was, until you just said that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I do. Like, I lie there in bed in the morning and I'm like, I live in Wales. It is grey every single morning in December, January. It just is. And I like peer through the curtain. I'm like, oh, again, no more blue sky. But I thought that I was thinking quite positively, but now we've spoke about it, yeah, I'm definitely not.
It's really interesting, is because I don't think we even really know we're doing it until we either A, have some kind of intervention, someone says, what do you do in the morning, or how do you think? Or you go through some sort of a reflective process that asks you a question, like, how does this start? How does that work? And you ask the question, you think about it. So I think we all need this, and I'm sure I do it at times. And I know in the past, and still today, when projects don't get done, it's because I have negative thoughts about them and negative framing. There's something I'm thinking, this is a big project, it's going to be tough to do. Or like there's something in my head that makes me go, I don't want to do it. Whereas other stuff, recording this podcast with you today, do you think I had any challenge coming to do this?
Hopefully not.
None whatsoever. And we're at the Rebel Business School company retreat this week. Henry, who works for us, has hired a 14-bed house with a hot tub outside. I was sat in the hot tub outside in the grey rain in England, and I had to get out of the hot tub to come and do the podcast. But I had no issues doing that. I was excited. I get to help Laura. I get to see Laura. I get to do the podcast. I get to help the mission. I get excited, and I'm pumped to do it. So I guess my first question is, how can we get you roared up? How can we get you really firing, Laura? How can we get the energy inside you? Because it's not about the hours, it's about the energy.
Yeah, so and there have been times where I get out of bed and I do, like, I have a morning routine and I'm really excited for it, and every day I get up and I feel great. But it's what I'm finding at the moment is, like, how do I start that? Like, I did one day and I was like, yes, I feel so good. And then the next day I just drop back out of it again. And then it's, how do you stay consistent with that? So I can do it for a month and I'm jumping out of bed, but then I go back.
And we go back again. So there's a concept from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, which is called habit stacking. Have you heard of habit stacking?
Yes, I'm familiar with that book.
Yeah, so habit stacking is a fabulous one, which is something that you do every day already, stack something with it so that you know it will happen. Is there anything you do on a daily basis?
I clean my teeth.
That's good. Round of applause, everyone. Laura cleans her teeth daily. Fabulous. So do I.
I'm not very good with habits, like doing certain things at the same time every day is something I struggle with. So I've always found it hard to stack habits. I don't have that many habits to start with.
But you do brush your teeth every day?
Yes, most of the time.
Yeah.
I brush them every day, but sometimes it's like, it's not until lunchtime and I'm like, oh no, I haven't done them because I'm not going out. So
what's the normal time of day you do it?
When I wake up.
Okay. So I suggest what we do is start with that. And even on days you're not going out, the first thing you do is brush your teeth.
I'm talking really rarely now. Like, it's a bad day.
Let's just do this. I know.
I do have nice teeth. Like, nobody can actually see me, but I have nice teeth.
You have a beautiful smile. You have a beautiful smile. But if we do that every single day, that gives us a point we can build from. And I had a little daily thing that I was playing with my mind that I wanted to give you. And what I wanted to give you was, what I think we should do is look at the big goal every day. So maybe whilst we're brushing our teeth and kind of staring into the mirror, we could dream of what's the big goal. And I'll give you my version of it, and then let's uncover yours. My version of it would be, I'd be staring into the mirror thinking, okay, this is always done in the present tense, as if it's always happened. because that's where you find the juice is it already happened. So the juice is present tense. I'm looking into the mirror. I work with a community of 3,000 motivated individuals who want to create the life of their dream. I get inspired every day helping them to make changes in their lives. The feedback they give me drives me to do more for them, and I have a full roster of clients that I love helping, supporting, and hearing from every day. And I'd look into the mirror and I would imagine, visualize, and say that while I were brushing my teeth. And that would be the thing. This is what I want. That's what I have to visualize every day. That's where I'm going. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I feel excited.
You feel excited? Good. I feel excited. It's not even my project. I'm like, yes, let's build it. Let's do it. And for everyone listening to this is a really good way to start your day, is thinking about what you want to achieve. Because if you do it and you visualize it as already having happened, you use the present tense, I am doing this, it is already there, you feel the energy build inside you. So can I ask you to give me your version of that, Laura? What might be your initial starter for 10 version? Doesn't have to be the final version because it'll develop and change every day as you feel more confident with it. But what's your initial version that you could say as you brush your teeth in the morning?
I feel like I just want to steal yours.
It's yours. It's recorded.
I know. I was thinking I need a pen and paper, and then I was like, I'm going to be able to listen again.
But I really do think it's the way you say it to yourself. I have a way of saying things to myself that get me excited and motivated, and that has been developed through storytelling and workshops, learning how to present and communicate. And actually, you should use the same skills on yourself. So have a go. Give me your words. Give me your words, Laura. And everyone listening to this, pause the podcast right now and give me your version of this. Your version of like, I'm doing this, I'm building this, I can see the 3,000 people. Whatever your version of that is, have a go at saying it out loud now.
I'm not very good at thinking on the spot.
Well, let me give you some starting words. I jump out of bed excited to.
I jump out of bed excited to... I can't do this exercise.
And I think this is part of the challenge, is we can't quite see what we're aiming for, and we're not quite motivated to do it. And then, well, we're not going to say consistent over time working towards that goal if we can't see it and can't imagine it. And I think one of the goals that my wife and I stuck to the most systematically over years was our financial independence goal. And we knew exactly what it was numerically. We knew exactly how it felt. I knew exactly what it looked like. And was like, okay, that's where I'm going. I just need to build bit by bit each year towards it and keep going. It inspired me for 5 years to keep going until we hit it. Then I had to come up with a new goal. But you get what I mean. It inspired me. So I think the exercise for everyone here is having a really clear, what are we heading towards? Because if you can't see it and you're struggling to get motivated for it, it's going to be very difficult to stay consistent over time, because you're going to sort of have a few spurts of energy and then you go, why am I doing this? Where am I going? And you'll do something else and you'll do something else. So that clarity over where we're heading is so important. So that's your homework, Laura, and for everyone listening, is to have a very clear thing that you could visualize each day that you want to build. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes perfect sense. And I know, like, I'm so good when I've got a goal and I can visualize it, I can hit it. Like when I was trying to raise money for coaching myself, I had targets and I literally stuck them on like tiny sticky notes. And every time I got to one, I'd rip it off the wall, I'd screw it up into a ball, I'd throw it in the air, and I'd bat it across the room and jump up and down every time I hit a target. And it just felt easy because the visualizing and then the celebrating every time, like I enjoyed ripping them and throwing them across the room.
I love that. So we need to bring that element into this element. So you know how to do this. We're just not applying that to this.
Yeah.
So I think we need to take what you already know how to do this, because you've got that visual reminder that you were looking at every day, you were moving towards, and it got you going. So I love that.
I think that's what frustrates me. I'm like, you know what to do, you're just not doing it.
And that's because we're not quite clear on some of these steps.
Yeah.
So overall, the overall steps are step 1, being very clear on the goal. Step 2, getting roared up, getting the energy from the huge why. And step 3 is the consistent action over time, which then I wanted to break down the consistent action over time over my daily recommendation to you. And the daily recommendation is, first off, visualize the big goal and habit stack that on top of brushing your teeth, making your coffee, whatever it is that you do every day that you can do, and think about the big goal, and you visualize it as if it's already happened. So you see yourself interacting with the community, coaching the people. You imagine the Zoom calls, coaching the people, the smiles at the end, the reporting back. You imagine the juicy elements that get you going, and then remind yourself of why you're doing it. Now, this is an optional part, but I think you might like it. It's the music or the movement that inspires you. You can probably guess what I listen to whilst I'm working.
What do you listen to when you're working?
I listen to Marvel's superhero cinematic universe soundtrack.
Of course
the most
you do.
motivational thing in the world. Like, I'm there with this music. I feel so motivated, like the world is changing, and it like inspires me to keep going. I use it because it doesn't have words, so that I can actually focus on my work. But something that motivates you, gives you energy, keeps you going, find that. And then we need to start with the most critical thing and tick it off each day. So we need to identify what's the 1, 2, 3 things that you need to do each day and tick them off every single day. Start with it and do nothing else until that is done. It doesn't have to be huge. It just has to be done. So for building the community, maybe it is a video a day, a post a day that goes into that. Like, where are you going to be hosting the community? Do you know?
Yes, I've just started a group on Facebook.
Cool, so it's a Facebook group. So it's the daily piece of content, the daily energy, the daily inspiration. Maybe it's, and you are an incredible graphics designer, so maybe it is a graphic, maybe it's a short video with a word that pops up. I don't know what it is, but something you can do every day that inspires the community to get going. And that's the first thing you do every day. And it takes you 10 minutes. You have a little sheet on your fridge, on your computer. I don't really care where you do it. But like every day, I have done that tick. And maybe there is 2 or 3 of these. So it is, I'm going to produce one piece of content there. I'm going to promote the group once somewhere. And then I'm going to ask someone if they would like to have me as their coach. And if I do that every single day, I know it's building towards my goal.
Sounds like a plan.
And if you can do those 3 things, like how long would those 3 things, if it was those 3 things, and I'm not suggesting it is because you need to come up with your own list, but if it was, how long do you think that would take?
So the 3 things were just like posting, maybe doing a video. I suppose it's not going to take more than a half an hour, depending on how long the video is.
So if you do a half an hour in the morning, which is, I've done a post in the group, I've promoted the group, and I've asked someone to be my client. If you've done that in half an hour, how are you going to feel at the start of the day?
Pumped.
Unbelievably, like top of the world. I'm doing it, I'm doing it. And this then reinforces the goal that you've got. So every time you do the daily activity, you start to believe a little bit more you can get to the goal. Every time you believe a little bit more you can get to the goal, you're more motivated to do the daily activity. And you get this positive spiral of energy that explodes upwards. If there's a day where it doesn't go right, what do we do?
Hide under the covers.
Maybe how long for?
Not all day.
If it doesn't happen, let's say one day you sleep in or whatever and you don't get out of bed until 10, what happens? Do you give up?
No, you just do it at 10.
And if there's one day where there's an emergency, where like someone rings and says, you must help me with this now, and you don't do it for the entire day, and it's like 8 o'clock at night, you're tired, it's the end of the day, what do?
Do it in the morning.
Maybe.
Do it at night.
Brush your teeth. Do the 3 activities, and then you'll just feel like you've accomplished it. And there are going to be days where you get the day is a write-off for whatever reason. You have an argument with someone, something goes wrong. Like, it happens to me some days. Like, the worst days in my world are when I have an argument with Katie. And we're human, it happens. But they're the worst days, and I just don't feel like doing anything. But if I go to bed, I sleep, it's like I reset and I start again the next day. And I'm pumped to get on with it again the next day. And it's the magic of a great night's sleep and starting again. And I guess what I wanted to say is if you can start this process and consistently do it over time, if you've done it for 6 months, what happens?
You start to see results.
You start to see results, and what does that do?
It makes you happy.
And if you're seeing results and you're feeling happy and you know you do this stuff every day, it starts to build your identity. And at the moment, what you've got is an identity that says, I struggle to be consistent. If after 6 months of doing this, what are you going to say?
I am consistent.
I am focused. I am doing this. I am building it. I'm excited. I am. And I am are some of the most powerful words. I'm sure you know this from your coaching and everyone else listening, but I am are some of the most powerful words. I hear people who come on our finance course who say, I am bad with numbers. That is a belief that they have attached to their identity that they can't do it. And they just immediately look at numbers and go, I'm bad with numbers. I hate it. And they don't take the time to breathe, relax, and go through it with someone who maybe is good with numbers and can help them. And I am is so important. I am focused. I am full of energy. I am doing this. I am a great coach. And it gives you the energy to keep going. So anything we can do, these daily habits that you do, slowly stack up chips or energy towards voting for a identity that says, I am focused, I am motivated, and I am full of energy.
I am excited.
Then 6 months later, you're going, I am a goal-eating machine. I can destroy this. I'm excited. And you get to the stage, Simon and I repeat to each other, together, we can do anything. And I genuinely believe like that. Together, we can do anything. I say that to Katie. Between the two of us, she's phenomenal. Together, we can do anything. And we get excited, and our identity matches our goals. Our daily habits match our goals, and we're flying towards the things we want to do. Let's future test this. So if you could take a moment and just maybe close your eyes. If you're listening to this and you're driving, do not close your eyes. Keep them open. That's very essential. If you're at home somewhere safe, just close your eyes. And what I want you to do is just imagine this happening tomorrow. Can you see yourself getting out of bed, brushing your teeth, looking in the mirror, thinking about the goal and where you're heading, getting excited, dancing around the room with music, and then doing the 3 activities straight away? And how does it feel?
It feels good. It feels productive.
One final piece to give you, Laura. So you're welcome to open your eyes and come back to us. The final piece to give you is the accountability piece. And if it goes wrong, what is one thing you can do to get back on track?
Go to sleep and wake up the next day.
That always works. Maybe ring someone. Maybe call a friend, text a friend, message me and say, Alan, I didn't do it today. And what will I probably say? Will I tell you off? I'm probably more likely to say it happens to all of us. Let's do it tomorrow. That's generally my thing, because I have done days where I haven't done anything and I shouldn't be told off. I just need to start again the next day. And I think that actually becomes the piece, is the telling off. You know, when you have a diet and you have a bad day and maybe you say, you go to the shops and buy a box of cookies. I've never done that. And then you eat the entire box of cookies and you feel bad about yourself and you beat yourself up. And then you give up the diet because you're a failure. Is that a useful way of dealing with things?
No, definitely not.
No, but it's what I've done and it's what lots of other people have done. So I give you permission. Things are going to happen. Every now and again is something happen. Do not beat yourself up. What you need to do is say, it happens to all of us. Let's start again tomorrow. Let's start again tomorrow. That's not like me. Let's start again tomorrow. Because it's not like you. You're incredibly motivated, full of energy and focused. I didn't do it today. That's not like me. Let's start again now. And you can do it.
I like that a lot.
If there's one thing in life I can guarantee, shit happens. And if it does, don't beat yourself up. Just get back. Let's start again. Now I'm curious if this is going to actually help or not. And I feel like we should check in again in a month or so, Laura, and find out if we've managed to keep this going and actually turn it into a habit.
Oh, there we go. There's the accountability.
There is a little bit of accountability there. Can you imagine yourself doing this in a month's time?
Yes.
2 months' time?
Yes.
6 months' time?
Yes.
And if you keep doing this all the way to December 2022, what do you think will have changed in your life?
A hell of a lot.
What do you think might have happened?
I might have built my business.
You might have built the business and be living your dream. Is that worth getting out of bed for?
Definitely.
So for everyone listening out there, the 2 elements that we've been speaking to Laura today about, which are so important, are the overall piece. You have to know what your major goal is and be able to visualize it, see it, and know where you're heading. If you don't know where you're heading, none of this happens. Step 2 is uncover the why. What's the why? What's the reason? What's the thing that's going to get you going? And then step 3 is what's the consistent action we're going to take over time to make this happen. Then we break down into the things we're going to do daily. And the daily things are find a habit you already do each day and then stack on top of that or next to it, or at the same time if it's brushing your teeth, the visualizing of the goal that you want to happen. Because if you see it every day and it inspires you, it will help you move towards it. Then remind yourself of the why. I'm doing this to make a difference in the world. I'm doing this to help people. I'm doing this because it builds the life I want to live. Then choose some music, choose some energy, jump around the house, make the coffee, get some energy, and then start on the actions. Do nothing else until you have done the actions that you need to do. If you're thinking, Alan, that's great, but like I'm posting in a Facebook group and the most engagement happens at 5:30 at night, there are schedulers. Do it first thing in the morning and schedule it so it appears at the right time. No excuses. Start the day with the key things and then tick them off on the habit tracker. If you do that every day, it's unbelievable the progress you will make. Laura Paul, will you commit to having a go at this for a month?
I will. And I just want to let you know, the sun has just come out for the first time in months after having this conversation.
I feel like that's one of those moments where it's like, the clouds part, the sun is out.
It is, the clouds have parted. There's just like a little bit of sun in the middle.
And on that note, this is what we all need to do to be consistent over the coming year to build our dreams. So go, make it happen, have fun, drive towards the future you really want to live. Thank you for listening to The Rebel Entrepreneur and being part of the Rebel Gang. You can have any life you want to. Choose to build something cool. Choose to take action. Choose to work to make your dreams become reality. Stand out. Be different. Be yourself. Be a rebel entrepreneur.